The calm before the storm. In the year 2147, Earth was a place of towering cities and advanced technology, but it was also a world filled with fear. For years, humanity had been at war with the Zilarians, a powerful alien race with shimmering skin and incredible strength. Their ships flew across the stars, striking fear into the hearts of soldiers and civilians alike. Captain Alex Carter was a soldier, but he was more than that. He was a hero to many. He had fought bravely in countless battles against the Zilarians. His reputation for courage was known throughout his military unit. However, Alex was also tired. Tired of the fighting, the destruction, and the loss. He often found himself gazing out at the stars, wondering if there was a way to end the war and find peace. On a quiet evening, as the sun set behind the tall buildings, Alex stood on the rooftop of his barracks, feeling the cool breeze against his face. The city below buzzed with life, but he felt a heavy weight on his heart. He watched as families gathered for dinner, unaware of the dangers lurking beyond their world. Little did they know that a Zilarian attack was imminent. His commanding officer, Colonel Miller, had called an urgent meeting. As Alex walked into the war room, he saw his fellow soldiers, faces etched with worry. The atmosphere was tense. Colonel Miller stood at the front, maps spread out on the table, his voice grave. Intel suggests a major Zilarian assault is coming soon. We need to prepare for battle, he announced. Alex listened carefully, his heart pounding. He knew that every battle brought the risk of losing more of his friends. Captain Carter, Miller called out, I want you to lead the front lines. Your team is the best we have. Alex nodded, feeling a mix of pride and fear. He knew this was a dangerous task, but he was ready to protect his people. I won't let you down, sir, he replied, determination shining in his eyes. As the meeting ended, Alex stepped outside, his mind racing. He thought of his family, of the people counting on him. He had always believed in fighting for what was right, but the cost of war was becoming too high. The night grew darker, and the stars twinkled like diamonds against the black sky. Alex walked through the base, noticing the faces of young soldiers preparing for the fight. They were scared but brave, ready to defend their home. He felt a sense of responsibility to protect them, to lead them into battle with hope. Later that night, as he lay in bed, sleep eluded him. He stared at the ceiling, wondering about the Zilarians. What were they like? Why did they fight? He had heard stories of their strength and advanced technology, but he had never met one. He imagined a different world, one where humans and Zilarians could live together in peace. Suddenly, a loud siren blared, shaking him from his thoughts. The alarm echoed through the base, warning of an enemy approach. Alex's heart raced as he jumped from his bed. Soldiers rushed to their posts, ready for action. As he donned his uniform and grabbed his weapon, he felt the tension in the air. This was it. The calm before the storm had ended. The time for talk was over, and now they had to fight. Stay sharp, he shouted to his team as they gathered around him. We fight together, and we fight for each other. With determination, he led his soldiers out into the night, ready to face whatever came their way. The battle was about to begin, and he was ready to stand tall, no matter the cost. An unexpected rescue. The chaos of battle filled the air as the first rays of dawn broke over the horizon. Explosions lit up the sky, and the sounds of gunfire echoed through the valley. Captain Alex Carter stood at the front lines, adrenaline pumping through his veins. His heart raced as he barked orders to his squad, trying to keep them focused amidst the chaos. Move forward. Cover each other, he shouted, his voice barely rising above the noise. The Zilarians had launched a surprise attack, catching the human forces off guard. Their sleek, silver ships hovered above, casting long shadows over the battlefield. Alex's soldiers fought bravely, but the Zilarians were relentless. As Alex peered through his binoculars, he spotted a group of Zilarians landing on the far side of the field. They moved with a fluid grace, their glowing skin making them look almost otherworldly. But among them, he noticed something unusual. A Zilarian was on the ground, struggling to stand. "Wait, over there," he called out, pointing toward the struggling figure. His team stopped and turned to see. "That's a royal. We need to help her." Without thinking, Alex grabbed his weapon and ran toward the fallen Zilarian. The others hesitated but followed him, unsure of what to expect. As they approached, Alex realized it was Princess Lyra, the heir to the Zilarian throne. She was beautiful, with bright green eyes that glimmered with pain and fear. "Stay back," one of the Zilarians shouted, raising his weapon. Alex quickly raised his hands, trying to calm the situation. "Hold on. I'm not here to fight," he said, keeping his voice steady. "I'm here to help her." Lyra looked up, her eyes filled with a mix of gratitude and fear. "Please, help me," she gasped, clutching her side where a wound stained her shimmering skin. Alex's heart sank. He couldn't believe he was standing before a royal, but he knew he had to act quickly. "Get her out of here," he commanded his team. They moved swiftly, forming a protective circle around her as they retreated toward their camp. The Zilarians surrounding Lyra hesitated, unsure whether to attack or help their fallen princess. As they moved, Alex could feel the tension in the air. They were outnumbered, and the Zilarians could easily turn on them. But he pressed forward, focused on saving the princess. Suddenly, a loud explosion rocked the ground, sending dust and debris flying into the air. "Move! Move!" Alex shouted, urging his team to run faster. They dashed through the chaos, their hearts pounding with fear. As they neared the safety of their base, Alex glanced back to see the Zilarians regrouping. They were preparing to launch an attack, and Alex knew they had little time. With one final push, they made it to the camp, and the doors slammed shut behind them. Inside, Alex laid Lyra on a medical bed, his hands shaking slightly. "Stay with me, princess," he said, trying to sound confident despite the fear gnawing at his insides. He called for the medics, his mind racing with worry. As the medics rushed in, Lyra looked up at Alex, her expression softening. "Thank you for saving me," she whispered. "I never expected a human to help this Illyrian royal." Alex swallowed hard, feeling a strange warmth spread through him. "It's what anyone would do," he replied, though he knew it wasn't true. This was more than just duty. He felt a connection to her that he couldn't explain. As the medics worked to stabilize her, Alex stayed by her side, realizing that their lives had forever changed. In the midst of war, he had made an unexpected ally. And perhaps something more. Little did they know, this moment would spark a bond that could change the fate of both their worlds. Secrets and surprises. Days turned into weeks after Princess Lyra's unexpected rescue, and the atmosphere at the military base was tense but hopeful. Alex Carter found himself spending more time in the medical ward, often stealing glances at Lyra as she healed. They exchanged quiet conversations, sharing stories about their worlds, their families, and their hopes for peace. Despite the barriers between their races, a deep bond began to grow. Alex was amazed by Lyra's strength and intelligence. She spoke with passion about her people, revealing their culture, history, and dreams. Each day, he learned something new, and his admiration for her grew. One afternoon, while the sun streamed through the window, Lyra asked, "Do you ever wonder why we are fighting?" Her voice was soft, but the weight of her question hung in the air. "Every day," Alex replied, leaning against the wall. "I wish I could find a way to end this war. So many lives have been lost on both sides." Lyra nodded, her eyes reflecting sadness. "My people believe humans are our enemies, but I see so much more than that. We are not so different, you know." Alex looked at her, surprised by her words. "You really think so?" "Yes," she replied. "We all want to protect our loved ones. We all want to live in peace." As they spoke, a sudden commotion outside interrupted their moment. The door burst open, and Colonel Miller stormed in, his face pale with urgency. "Captain Carter, we have a problem. We just received intel that the Zilarians are planning a major attack on our base tonight." Alex felt his heart race. "What do we do, sir?" "We need to prepare our defenses immediately," Miller ordered. "And we must keep the princess safe. If they find out she's here, they'll come for her." Lyra's eyes widened with fear. "I can't let them find me. They'll think I'm a traitor." "No one will know you're here," Alex assured her, stepping closer. "We'll protect you. I promise." As Miller rushed out to organize the troops, Alex turned to Lyra. "You have to stay hidden until the attack is over. It's not safe for you to be out in the open." "I understand," Lyra said, but her voice trembled. "But I can't just sit back and do nothing. I want to help." Alex sighed, knowing how brave she was. "I can't let you take that risk. You're too important." Lyra looked down, feeling a mixture of frustration and helplessness. "You don't understand. I have to show my people that not all humans are our enemies. If I can talk to them, maybe they'll listen." A plan began to form in Alex's mind. "What if we could use your royal status to our advantage? If you speak to the Zilarian leaders during the attack, we could make them see reason." Lyra's eyes lit up with hope. "You really think they would listen to me?" "It's worth a shot," Alex replied. "But it will be dangerous. We need to get you close enough to their lines without being caught." Lyra nodded, determination shining in her eyes. "I'm willing to take that risk." As the evening approached, Alex and Lyra worked together to plan their strategy. They gathered supplies, weapons, and communication devices, determined to show both sides that peace was possible. Just as they were finalizing their plan, a loud explosion shook the base. Alarms blared, and soldiers rushed past them, preparing for battle. "Here we go," Alex said, gripping his weapon tightly. He turned to Lyra, his heart pounding. "Are you ready?" With a fierce resolve, Lyra nodded. "Let's do this." They stepped out into the chaos, ready to face whatever awaited them. In that moment, they knew they were not just fighting for their lives, but for a chance to bring their worlds together. The battle for peace had begun. Planning for peace. The chaos of battle had settled, but the tension in the air was palpable. Captain Alex Carter stood with Princess Lyra in a dimly lit command room deep inside the military base. Around them, soldiers worked tirelessly, analyzing maps and preparing for the next phase of the war. But for Alex and Lyra, their focus was different. They were determined to find a way to stop the fighting for good. "Okay, let's think this through," Alex said, spreading a large map of the surrounding area across the table. His finger traced the outlines of enemy positions. "If we can get you close enough to the Zilarian leaders, you might be able to convince them to negotiate." Lyra leaned over the map, her finger tapping a spot where their forces often clashed with the Zilarians. "This area is heavily guarded, but if we go at night, we might have a chance. I can use my royal status to create a distraction." Alex looked up, impressed by her quick thinking. "That could work. But we'll need a solid plan to get you there without being seen." They spent the next few hours discussing strategies, drawing on every piece of information they had about the enemy. Lyra spoke about the Zilarian military hierarchy, revealing that many of their leaders were influenced by old traditions that valued honor and loyalty. "If I can appeal to that, maybe they will listen," she suggested. "Right," Alex said, feeling a spark of hope. "You need to show them that you are not their enemy. You need to speak from the heart." Lyra took a deep breath, her expression serious. "But what if they don't believe me? What if they see me as a traitor?" Alex placed a reassuring hand on her shoulder. "You won't be alone. I'll be right there with you. We'll make sure you're safe." As night fell, the pair finalized their plan. They prepared disguises to blend in with the Zilarians, knowing it would be risky. Alex felt a mix of excitement and fear. He admired Lyra's courage and determination to end the war. But deep down, he worried about what would happen if they were caught. Later that evening, they gathered a small team of trusted soldiers. Alex introduced Lyra to them, explaining their mission. The soldiers were skeptical at first, unsure of the idea of trusting the Zalarian royal. But Alex's passion and Lyra's resolve quickly won them over. "This is our chance to change everything," Alex said, looking into each soldier's eyes. "We're not just fighting for our lives. We're fighting for a future where both our races can coexist." With their hearts set on the mission, they moved out under the cover of darkness. The stars twinkled above, creating a beautiful backdrop for the dangerous journey ahead. As they approached the Zalarian territory, Alex felt the weight of the moment. "Remember, Lyra," he said softly as they neared the enemy lines. "Stay close to me and speak clearly. You have to show them your strength." Lyra nodded, her face determined. "I will. For peace, I'll do whatever it takes." They reached the outskirts of the enemy camp, and the tension grew thicker. Alex's heart raced as he scanned the area for any signs of Zalarians. Suddenly, they heard voices approaching. "Hide," Alex whispered urgently, pulling Lyra behind a nearby tree. They held their breath, praying not to be discovered. As the voices faded, they exchanged glances, both feeling the fear and thrill of what they were about to attempt. "This is it," Lyra said, her voice barely above a whisper. "Let's show them that peace is possible." With a deep breath, they moved forward, ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. Together, they would fight not just for their survival, but for the future they both dreamed of. A world where humans and Zalarians could live side by side in harmony. A dangerous betrayal. The moon hung high in the sky, casting a silver glow over the enemy camp. Alex Carter and Princess Lyra crouched behind a bush, their hearts racing with both fear and excitement. They had successfully snuck past the guards, and now they were only a few steps away from the Zalarian leader's tent. "Remember what we practiced," Alex whispered, his eyes scanning the area. "You speak first. I'll follow your lead." Lyra nodded, her determination shining in the moonlight. "I won't let you down, Alex. We can do this." As they approached the tent, Lyra took a deep breath, feeling the weight of her royal status. This was her chance to speak for her people and to show that peace was possible. Just as they reached the entrance, Alex felt a sudden chill run down his spine. Something didn't feel right. "Wait," he said, holding up a hand. "I have a bad feeling about this." Before Lyra could respond, a loud voice shouted from behind them. "Stop right there." Alex turned to see a group of Zalarians rushing toward them, their eyes filled with anger and suspicion. At the front was Commander Rax, a fierce warrior known for his loyalty to the Zalarian crown. "You dare to enter our camp, human," he growled, gripping his weapon tightly. "Commander, please." Lyra stepped forward, her voice steady despite the fear coursing through her. "I am Princess Lyra. I am here to talk about peace." Rax sneered. "Peace? You are a traitor, Lyra. You come here with a human. You have betrayed your people." "What?" Alex exclaimed, his heart sinking. "That's not true. We are here to stop the war." The other Zalarians moved closer, weapons drawn. "You are both enemies of the Zalarian crown," Rax declared, raising his weapon. "You will pay for your treachery." Alex stepped in front of Lyra, his heart racing. "You don't understand. We can end this fight together. We can." Before he could finish, a sharp pain shot through his shoulder. He gasped and turned to see one of the Zalarians had shot him. "Alex," Lyra cried, reaching for him. "Run," he shouted, trying to push her away. "Get out of here." But Lyra refused to leave him. "No, I won't leave you." Suddenly, chaos erupted. A nearby explosion shook the ground, causing the Zalarians to turn their attention away from them. Alex seized the opportunity and pulled Lyra closer, desperate to escape. "We have to go now." They sprinted into the darkness, hearts pounding as they ran through the camp. Alex could feel the blood trickling from his shoulder, but he pushed through the pain. They had to escape before it was too late. As they reached the edge of the camp, they stumbled upon their small team of soldiers waiting for them. Relief washed over Alex as he saw their familiar faces. "We're here," he shouted, urging them to help. But before they could regroup, a sharp voice called out from behind them. "Stop right there." Alex turned to see Commander Rax, flanked by other Zilarians, standing with weapons aimed at them. "You will not escape this time," Rax said, his voice cold. In that moment, betrayal cut deeper than any weapon. Alex realized that some of his own soldiers had turned against him. A familiar face stepped forward, one of his trusted comrades. "You've brought shame to our people, Captain," he said, eyes full of anger. "We cannot allow this to continue." "Why?" Alex shouted, his voice filled with disbelief. "You don't understand. This is our chance for peace." But the traitor merely smirked. "Peace. That's what they want you to believe. The war must continue." Lyra stood beside Alex, her expression fierce. "You're wrong. We can find a way to end this." As the Zilarians closed in, Alex knew they had to fight. He took a deep breath and faced his former comrade. "You can't let hatred win. We are stronger together." But the traitor raised his weapon, and everything began to spiral out of control. Alex and Lyra were trapped, facing both betrayal and danger. The dream of peace felt more distant than ever, and they were running out of time. The final battle. The tension in the air was thick as Captain Alex Carter and Princess Lyra stood surrounded by their enemies. The Zilarians, led by Commander Rax and Alex's former comrade, had them cornered. Weapons were drawn, and the faces of both humans and Zilarians were filled with fear and anger. "Put down your weapons," Alex shouted, his voice ringing out over the chaos. "This fight will not bring us peace. We need to work together." Rax stepped forward, his eyes narrowed. "You think you can convince us with words, human? You are a traitor to your own kind, and you have betrayed the Zilarians as well." Lyra, standing strong beside Alex, raised her voice. "No, Rax. We can end this war. My father, the king, will listen if we can show him that humans are not our enemies." For a moment, silence hung in the air as the Zilarians exchanged uncertain glances. It was clear that Rax was torn between loyalty and the possibility of peace. "Enough of this," Rax snapped, raising his weapon again. "You will not speak for our king. You are a royal with no kingdom." But before he could pull the trigger, Alex stepped in front of Lyra, heart pounding. "If you shoot us, you will only bring more war. Is that what you want?" In that moment, a sudden explosion erupted nearby, shaking the ground beneath them. Dust and debris flew through the air, and everyone instinctively ducked for cover. "Now," Alex shouted, grabbing Lyra's hand. They sprinted away from their enemies, dodging through the chaos of the battle. "Where do we go?" Lyra cried, glancing back at the Zilarians, who were recovering from the shock. "To the front lines. If we can reach our soldiers, we can turn this around." Alex replied, determination flooding through him. As they dashed toward the sound of gunfire, they spotted their comrades fighting against the Zilarians. The battlefield was a sea of confusion and fear, but Alex felt a sense of purpose. He and Lyra had to rally their forces and show both sides that peace was still possible. "Listen up," Alex yelled as they reached their soldiers. "We can't keep fighting like this. We need to show them we want peace." Some soldiers looked uncertain, while others seemed ready for a fight. Just then, Lyra stepped forward, her voice strong and clear. "My people are not our enemies. We must unite against the true threat of war and suffering. We have a chance to end this." Her words hung in the air, and slowly the soldiers began to lower their weapons, confused but willing to listen. Alex took a deep breath, feeling a glimmer of hope. "Join us," he shouted to the Zilarians across the battlefield. "We can find a way to stop this madness, together." Some Zilarians paused, looking back at their commander. Rax stood firm, but uncertainty flickered in his eyes. "We are stronger together." Alex shouted again, his voice rising above the noise. "We can create a future for both our people, but it starts now." Rax hesitated, then looked at Lyra. "You would betray your people for this human." "No," Lyra replied fiercely. "I choose to fight for peace and understanding. We can change the course of our history together." In that moment, Rax seemed to falter. The battle around them slowed, the sounds of gunfire fading as both sides listened to the two leaders. Suddenly, a soldier from Alex's side stepped forward. "I believe in this chance," he said, lowering his weapon completely. "We cannot keep living in fear." One by one, others followed his lead, lowering their weapons and stepping back. Rax looked around, realizing his own soldiers were hesitant to fight. The atmosphere shifted as the realization spread. They could stop the violence. "Enough," Rax finally shouted, lowering his weapon. "Let's hear them out." Cheers erupted from both sides as the realization of possible peace settled in. Alex and Lyra stood together, united in their vision. "We can negotiate," Alex said, looking at Lyra with pride. "Together, we will build a new future." And with that, the battle turned into a chance for dialogue. Both sides were ready to listen, and hope filled the air, marking the beginning of a new era, uniting against a common enemy. The atmosphere on the battlefield was tense, but it was filled with a newfound sense of hope. Captain Alex Carter and Princess Lyra stood at the center, surrounded by soldiers from both sides, humans and Zilarians alike. They had taken a bold step toward peace, but now they needed to focus on a more immediate threat. As the two groups faced each other, Lyra raised her hand, calling for silence. "Listen to me. We have all lost too much to this war. But there is a greater danger approaching," she said, her voice steady and commanding. "We need to unite against a common enemy." Alex nodded in agreement, his heart pounding with urgency. "Reports have come in that a third faction, the Thraxians, is planning to attack both our camps. They see our conflict as an opportunity to take advantage of our weakness." The soldiers exchanged worried glances, the reality of the situation sinking in. Rax stepped forward, his expression serious. "I have heard whispers of the Thraxians. They are ruthless and will stop at nothing to destroy both our races." A murmur of fear rippled through the crowd. Alex understood that fear could easily turn into panic, and they had to keep the momentum of peace going. "If we fight against each other, we will fall right into their trap. We need to work together to defend our homes and our people." "What do you propose?" a Zilarian soldier asked, crossing his arms. Alex gestured to the battle map laid out on a nearby table. "We need to combine our forces. I suggest we set up a joint defense along the perimeter of our camps. We can share our resources and knowledge to create a stronger barrier against the Thraxians." Lyra stepped closer to the map, her finger tracing the outline of their combined territories. "If we position our best fighters at the most vulnerable points, we can anticipate their attack. We need to coordinate our strategies and make a united front." Rax nodded, looking around at his fellow soldiers. "I know my men are ready to defend our land. We have trained for this, but it will take trust to make this work. Can we truly rely on these humans?" Alex stepped forward, meeting Rax's gaze. "I know it's hard to believe, but I promise you, we will stand side by side. We are stronger together. The Thraxians won't care about our differences. They will only seek to destroy us." With a deep breath, Rax turned to his soldiers. "Are you with me?" One by one, the Zilarians raised their weapons in support. "For peace," they shouted, their voices echoing across the battlefield. Alex felt a rush of hope as he watched the Zilarians and his fellow soldiers come together. "Now let's make a plan. We will need to be ready for anything." Over the next few hours, they worked side by side, laying out defenses and preparing for the coming attack. Humans and Zilarians shared their skills, exchanging knowledge about weapons and tactics. As they worked, bonds began to form, and laughter broke through the tension, creating a sense of camaraderie. Lyra and Alex moved from group to group, encouraging everyone to stay focused. "This is our moment to show that we can change our fate," Lyra said, her voice full of hope. "We can build a future together." As night fell, they set up watchtowers and positioned their soldiers strategically. They lit campfires, the flames flickering in the dark, symbolizing their unity against the common threat. Just as they finished their preparations, a scout rushed into camp, eyes wide with urgency. "They're coming. The Thraxians are on the move." Alex's heart raced, but he felt a surge of determination. "All right. Positions, everyone. We are ready for them." Lyra took her place beside Alex, her face set with fierce determination. "We will show them that we are united, no matter what happens. For our people." With their spirits high, both forces prepared for battle. The night was filled with tension as they stood together, ready to face whatever the Thraxians would bring. In that moment, Alex knew they had made the right choice. No matter the outcome, they had united against a common enemy, and that was the first step toward a lasting peace. The aftermath of war. The sun rose slowly over the battlefield, casting a golden light on the destruction left behind. Captain Alex Carter stood at the edge of the camp, gazing out at the remnants of the fierce battle against the Thraxians. The smell of smoke lingered in the air, and the sounds of quiet murmurs and sobs filled the atmosphere. It was a haunting reminder of the price of war. Beside him, Princess Lyra looked tired but resolute. She surveyed the scene, her heart heavy with sorrow. "So many lives lost," she said softly, her voice barely above a whisper. "What could we have done differently?" Alex turned to her, placing a comforting hand on her shoulder. "We fought bravely, Lyra. We stood together, and that is what matters. But it's hard to see the cost of our actions." As they walked through the camp, they came across soldiers helping each other, bandaging wounds, and providing comfort to those who had lost friends. The humans and Zilurians worked side by side, their unity forged in the heat of battle. "Look," Lyra said, pointing to a group of soldiers. "They are putting aside their differences to help each other. This is a start." Alex nodded, feeling a glimmer of hope. "It shows that we can change. We must honor those we lost by building a better future." Later, as they gathered for a memorial service, the mood shifted. Soldiers from both sides stood together, shoulder to shoulder, as they remembered their fallen comrades. Lyra stepped forward to speak, her voice clear and strong. "We stand here today not as humans and Zilurians, but as brothers and sisters who fought for a common cause," she began. "We have seen the cost of war. We have lost friends, family, and hope. But in our darkest hour, we found strength in each other. Let us honor the sacrifices made today by working toward a future of peace." Applause erupted from the crowd, and Alex felt a swell of pride as he watched Lyra inspire hope. "We can't let their sacrifices be in vain. We must rebuild what we lost and forge a new path together," she continued. After the service, Alex and Lyra spoke with soldiers, listening to their stories and offering words of encouragement. There was a shared understanding now, a realization that they were in this together. Days turned into weeks as the camps worked to recover from the battle. Humans and Zilurians repaired their homes, built new shelters, and shared resources. The initial distrust slowly faded as friendships blossomed and laughter echoed through the camp. Alex found himself spending more time with Rax, the Zilurian commander. They shared meals and discussed strategies for maintaining peace. "We have a long way to go, but I believe we can do this," Rax said one evening, looking out at the camp. "Together, we can create a better future." "I agree," Alex replied, feeling the weight of their shared responsibility. "We must ensure our leaders understand that we are stronger united than divided." As they worked together, news of their alliance began to spread. Other factions who had once watched the war from a distance now approached, eager to learn from their example. Slowly, the world began to change. One evening, Lyra and Alex stood at the edge of the camp, watching the sunset. The colors painted the sky in vibrant hues, a stark contrast to the dark memories of the recent past. "We've come so far," Lyra said, her voice filled with emotion. "But we must remember those we lost." Alex nodded, placing his hand over hers. "They will always be in our hearts. We owe it to them to build a lasting peace." As the sun dipped below the horizon, they made a silent promise to each other and to all those who had fought for this moment. They would work tirelessly to ensure that their world would never see such destruction again. Together, they would be the change they wished to see. A new beginning. The morning sun shone brightly over the newly formed camp, illuminating the faces of soldiers and civilians alike. The once divided humans and Solarians now worked side by side, their laughter and shouts of joy echoing in the air. It was a new day, a new beginning, and the spirit of unity filled the atmosphere. Captain Alex Carter stood near the center of the camp, watching the progress. Everywhere he looked, people were busy building shelters, planting crops, and sharing stories. The recent battles had left scars, but those scars were now becoming symbols of resilience and hope. As he turned, he spotted Princess Lyra approaching, a bright smile on her face. "Look at this," she exclaimed, gesturing to a group of children playing together. Human and Solarian children chased each other around a makeshift playground. Their laughter, a sweet sound, filled Alex's heart with warmth. "It's amazing to see them playing together," he replied, feeling a sense of pride. "They are the future." Lyra nodded, her eyes sparkling with hope. "They won't know the fear of war. They will grow up knowing peace." Together, they walked toward the center of the camp, where a gathering was about to take place. The leaders of both races had decided to hold a meeting to discuss the future of their alliance. As they reached the platform, Alex could see the excitement and anticipation on the faces of everyone gathered. Rax, the Xylarian commander, stood at the front, looking strong and determined. "Today marks a new chapter for both our people," he began, his voice resonating through the crowd. "We have suffered and lost so much, but we have also learned the power of unity." Cheers erupted from the crowd, and Alex felt a surge of energy. "We are not just allies. We are friends," Rax continued. "Together, we can build a future where our children will live in peace." Lyra stepped forward, her voice steady and inspiring. "This is our chance to create a world where cooperation replaces conflict. Let us work hand in hand to ensure that our history does not repeat itself." As she spoke, Alex felt a deep sense of purpose. He knew that the path ahead would not be easy, but together they could overcome any challenge. After the speeches, they began to discuss plans for their new community. They talked about trade agreements, cultural exchanges, and education programs for their children. Ideas flowed freely, and everyone felt involved in shaping their future. As the meeting concluded, Alex caught Rax's eye. "I believe we can also work together to strengthen our defenses. If we stand united, we can protect our people from any external threat," he suggested. Rax nodded, appreciating the idea. "Agreed. Let's train together. Our soldiers can learn from each other, building a stronger force that can respond to any danger." With excitement buzzing in the air, they set up training sessions. Humans and Solarians practiced combat techniques, sharing skills and strategies. They laughed and learned from one another, forming bonds that would last a lifetime. Days turned into weeks, and the camp continued to grow. They built homes, schools, and even a gathering place for celebrations. Alex and Lyra worked tirelessly, ensuring that everyone felt welcome and valued. One evening, as the sun set over the horizon, painting the sky in shades of orange and pink, the camp gathered for a festival to celebrate their new alliance. Music filled the air as everyone danced together, sharing food and laughter. Alex and Lyra watched the celebration, their hearts full. "This is what we fought for," Lyra said, leaning against Alex. "A future where we are all together." "Yes," Alex replied, smiling at her. And this is only the beginning. As the stars began to twinkle above, they knew that their journey was just starting. With hope in their hearts and a strong bond between their people, they would face the future together. It was a new beginning, one filled with endless possibilities.